قرآن واسق حياتي قرآن.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, today we'll be learning and mentioning 10 lessons from Juz 21. Let's go to our first lesson.
ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون.
The first lesson we learn from this juz is the importance of family, as it is the center of the mercy. A believer is aware that his family is the center of peace and harmony. When it was asked from Imam Ali alayhi salam that what he feels about his wife, Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha, he replied, "Ni'mal aun ala ta'atillah." That means Imam said, I found her the best helper in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, a couple should be in sync with each other to make housewives positive and peaceful one.
ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حملته أمه وهنا على وهن وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير.
The second lesson we get from this juz is to be kind towards parents. A believer is always obedient and kind towards his parents, especially mother, as she bears him for 9 months with difficulty, and later she takes care of him. We should know that this kindness should always remain, even when they get old. It doesn't mean when they get old we should not show our kindness, no. Rather, the kindness should increase when they are in their old age. At the end of the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Give thanks to me and to your parents." We must have good relation with our parents. We must be thankful to them. We show kindness to our parents.
ولا تصعر خدك للناس ولا تمش في الأرض مرحا إن الله لا يحب كل مختال فخور.
The third lesson we get from this juz is to refrain from pride and takabbur. That shows that we should not be proud. A believer is always humble. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says,
لن يدخل الجنة من في قلبه مثقال ذرة من الكبر.
Which means a person who has even an ounce of proudness in his heart will not enter paradise. Therefore, we as a believer should stay away from takabbur.
وَاقْصِدْ فِي مَشْيِكَ وَاغْضُضْ مِنْ صَوْتِكَ إِنَّ أَنْكَرَ الْأَصْوَاتِ لَصَوْتُ الْحَمِيرِ.
The fourth lesson we learn from this juz is moderation. One of the characteristics of a believer is that he never gets extreme in his ways, as he is moderate in his life. The verse says, "Be modest in your bearing and lower your voice." This shows in order to have a successful life, we should be moderate.
إنما يؤمن بآياتنا الذين إذا ذكروا بها خروا سجدا وسبحوا بحمد ربهم وهم لا يستكبرون.
The fifth lesson we learn from this juz is the importance of prostration, sajda, with humility in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A believer is aware that during prostration, during sajda, he is closest to his Creator. So he does the sajda in the most humble manner that he can. The lesson extracted from this verse is amongst those 4 verses where when a person recites, it becomes wajib on a person to do sajda.
تتجافى جنوبهم عن المضاجع يدعون ربهم خوفا وطمعا ومما رزقناهم ينفقون.
The sixth lesson we learn from this juz is the importance of night prayers. During night time, the believer is away from the worldly distractions, and that is the best time to connect with the Creator. Reciting Tahajjud, the Salatul Layl, the night prayer, is a great step towards reaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we cannot recite 11 rak'ah, we can at least recite and start with those 3 rak'at, the 2 rakat, the Salatul Shaf' and 1 rakat as Salatul Witr.
ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه وما جعل أزواجكم اللائي تظاهرون منهن أمهاتكم وما جعل أدعياءكم أبناءكم.
The 7th lesson we learn from this juz is ruling about adoption. As per Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rule and sharia, adopted child is not considered as a biological child. Hence, he does not have the right for inheritance and he does not become mahram to the adopted parents.
أشحة عليكم فإذا جاء الخوف رأيتهم ينظرون إليك تدور أعينهم كالذي يغشى عليه من الموت فإذا ذهب الخوف سلقوكم بألسنة حداد أشحة على الخير أولئك لم يؤمنوا فأحبط الله أعمالهم وكان ذلك على الله يسيرا.
The 8th lesson we get from this juz is be courageous in front of enemy. A believer stands strong and faces the enemy with courage. The more attachment and ghairat a person has for his family and for his country, the more courage and braveness he shows. This verse is regarding munafiqeen who would go to the battlefield, and the verse says their eyes would roll as if they are fainting to death. Therefore, we learn that a mu'min is courageous in all his hard and difficult times.
لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا.
The 9th lesson we get from this juz is to follow the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in everything. For a believer, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the best role model, so he constantly tries to mirror Prophet's characteristics in his life. From this verse, we learn that Prophet is the uswa, the exemplar for all the Muslims. Therefore, our role models should be prophets and imams, and we should try to act what they have asked us to do.
من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا.
The last lesson we learn from this juz is steadfastness. A believer ties a covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect and even sacrifice his life, and he stands on his words. These are the people who attain martyrdom and shahadat like Hazrat Hamza, Prophet's uncle. Therefore, we learn a mu'min shows steadfastness in all the circumstances. These were the 10 lessons. Inshallah, we'll come again with the 10 lessons of the next juz. Till then, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
رحمن يا رحمن ساعدني يا رحمن اشرح صدري قرآن املأ قلبي قرآن واسق حياتي قرآن رحمن يا رحمن ساعدني يا رحمن